Aligned teams lead to better engagement, better performance, less stress, and even increased retention. And that makes getting a team aligned and keeping a team aligned a key task for leaders at all levels. Hey leader, David Burkus here, organizational psychologist and author of 5 best-selling books on helping leaders and teams do their best work ever, including the new book, Best Team Ever. More information about that in the description, but if you're watching this video, it's a safe bet you're gonna love that book as well. So much of how we work together on teams revolves around one thing: getting everyone on the same page, or keeping everyone on the same page. But finding team alignment isn't as easy as it is easy to recognize how important it is. People have different competing priorities. Often people are serving on multiple different teams, and that juggles the priorities again. Others might have totally at capacity bandwidths while we wait on other people who are actually sort of under task. And then others might just be totally misaligned with the goals and objectives of the project. Team alignment is the idea that everyone on the team, everyone in the organization, but especially specific to one kind of team or project team, that everyone on the team contributes toward a shared goal, has understanding what that shared goal is, understands the tasks that are required of them, and also how those tasks fit into the team's work and how all of that brings them to that shared goal. When teams are aligned, communication, collaboration, efficiency, and productivity thrive. It's impossible to build a high-performing team without team alignment. That's probably why decades of research from the Gallup organization show that aligned teams lead to increased productivity and increased engagement, lead to lower rates of turnover, and even decreased experiences of stress on a team. Aligned teams even make decisions faster and respond quicker in the moment to changes. They're overall more resilient and better performing. So in this episode, we're gonna break down how to get a team aligned and keep a team aligned. And we're gonna do that by outlining 5 stages in the process that leaders need to not only be aware of, but need to be leading the way on. The first step in the process of getting a team aligned is to start from purpose. Before you set down goals and then milestones, and before you divvy up tasks and talk about expected delivery dates, start from the reason that team is working on that project. Why is the work we're doing so important? What's the purpose of our team's work? What's the purpose of the organization? And then how does the work that our team is being asked to do fit into that larger whole? And how does that purpose show up in the day-to-day operations? We start from purpose on a team because not only is purpose a powerful motivator, breaking down why a team exists, breaking down why an organization exists, or as I like to say, who is served by the work that we're doing, is going to be a huge factor in whether or not this team stays motivated throughout the process of bringing that project to completion. But starting from purpose also has another element too, which is that changes are gonna happen. People are gonna fail to deliver or need to change what they deliver. External changes in the environment might force a whole pivot. And when you start from purpose, you have a very clear end state in mind. So even if we have to take a little bit different route and we have to make pivots along the way, what done looks like, what successful completion looks like usually doesn't change. And so when you start from purpose, you put that end goal in mind, even if we end up taking a different route to get at that destination. The second stage in the process of getting a team aligned is to establish priorities. Okay, we know what the end goal looks like. We know what done looks like. We know what successful completion of the project. We know what that definition is, but there are probably dozens of tasks that have to go in a specific order in order to get us to that successful completion. And that's why the goal alone is not enough. We also need to set down what the priorities are. And when I say priorities here, I am pluraling the word. Originally, the word priority was actually only singular because you could only really ever have one priority. Over time, we've started to use that as plural, and I think that's okay, but if you look at the capacity of our working memory and our ability to keep everything straight, etc., on a team, you probably don't want to go to more than maybe 3, 4, 5 at the absolute max priorities. Everything else doesn't mean it's not important, but it's not a priority. And then even inside of that small list of what's priorities, we need to know what's the number 1 priority, number 2, number 3, etc. We need to know what people should focus on whenever they have a free moment, but we also need to know what's most important for us as a team to complete so that we can arrange our own work schedules accordingly. This is also where keeping a team aligned comes into play, because often what tends to drive a team towards misalignment is either a misunderstanding of the priorities, and so somebody's working on stuff that's actually lower in the team priority, or an external change that forces us to have to readjust the priority list. Now, readjust the priority list, not always. Sometimes we fall prey to the tyranny of the urgent and new things become the priority, but other times new things really are the priority. In either case, keeping a team aligned means keeping them updated on what the priorities are and if and how they've changed as a result of whatever changes we've experienced. The third stage in the process of getting a team aligned and keeping a team aligned is to set team goals and really set personal goals as well. Think about where we are, right? We have an established purpose, we have a knowledge of what the priorities are, and now we can start to look at the various stages and milestones, tasks and expected delivery dates, and build a real sort of plan of action. Some teams take this really into the analytical stages with things like OKRs or KPIs, and if you have no idea what those acronyms are, that's okay. For other teams, it's enough to just break down, here's where we want to go, so here's where we need to be at every interval, well, it's a month or every couple of weeks or what have you. Whatever method you choose, make sure it works for your team and make sure it answers a few key questions. Make sure people know what are the most important goals that will have the biggest impact. Make sure people know how those goals are going to be measured, and make sure people know when they're expected to do whatever is expected of them that will deliver on that measurement. In other words, people need to know what's expected of them, by when, and then what they can expect from other people and by when. That's the purpose of setting those team goals. The side effect of setting team goals is that it also gives you milestones and checkpoints along the way to know whether or not you have to make any changes, but also celebrate your progress, which is going to be huge in keeping that team motivated to go towards those bigger goals that are harder to see to completion on a short timetable. The fourth step in getting a team aligned, and this is really now more in the keeping a team aligned, is to hold regular huddles. Huddles are my term for those regular weekly all hands meetings you may have. Although unlike the all hands meetings we all hate going to, sorry, I was trying to think of a better way to say it and I just can't. A huddle is meant to be a quick meeting where team members come together to work out loud, to broadcast out what they've been working on a team-wide level. This isn't about checking in with you, more on that later. This is about checking in with the whole team and keeping them updated. I like to use a format for a huddle like this. I think it should happen about once a week, although I can be talked into going a little bit shorter and I can be talked into going all the way to 2 weeks. And I think it should center around each person reporting out the answer to 3 specific questions. What did I just complete? Meaning in the time between when we last met and now, what have I achieved? Where am I on my goals that have been set as part of the team goals framework? What am I focused on next, meaning between now and the next time we meet? What are my priorities? Are they aligned with those goals and the team priorities? And what's blocking my progress? In other words, as I look towards that next week or 2 weeks between now and the next time we meet, and I look at what's expected of me, what are the potential things that could keep me from delivering on it? Sometimes those are internal, a knowledge gap or a lack of awareness about how to achieve something or who to talk to about something. And sometimes they're external, a resources gap, a member of a team elsewhere in the organization that's not communicating. In either case, it's important for that person to share it to the whole team, not just you as a leader, to the whole team because people can opt in for help, and to you as a leader because sometimes you have to take that leadership role and go find the gap there, get them the resource that they need. But they need to hear it from both people. And unfortunately, many times people only hear about these at the leadership level. People are reporting in where they're failing, but only to the leader and keeping it from their colleagues. And that doesn't serve anyone. Look, the first thing is that if you're not working hard, your colleagues already know it. But the second thing is that if it's done in a constructive huddle type meeting, your team can opt into helping you and we get the problem solved much faster and we keep the team aligned much more easily. And the last stage in keeping a team aligned is to check in often. Check in often at the individual level. So if you think about the fact that we're having a regular once a week or at the most once every 2 weeks team-wide check-in, this is you in that leadership role doing the one-on-one check-in with each individual person. I can't keep track of how many times I said individual there, but that's what I need to get across, right? Stage 4 was about the team. Stage 5 is about the individual. As your team members are working towards these goals, they need you to check in with them individually, not only to make sure they have what they need, but maybe say the things that go unsaid in that team-wide meeting. These regular one-on-one meetings help you keep tabs on that progress and help you give the coaching that makes leading a team really actually enjoyable. It lets each individual on the team know you're there to get them what they need. You're there to help them in any situation and even help them reflect on what they've achieved and what they've learned. This is also a great time to have those more personal, forward-looking conversations about their career hopes, about their goals, etc. Because as a leader, one of the things you're going to want to do is not only keep the team and the team's goals aligned with the organizational goals, but to align the goals of each individual with the goals of that team and the organization. You can only do that if you know them. And by the way, this is meant to be a transparent conversation. So it's actually okay if people tell you their goals are not to stick around on the team for very long, right? As long as they can still be a contributing member of the team now, that doesn't mean they're insubordinate just because a year from now they may want to go back and do an MBA program or something like that. They are still a part of the team, and therefore there's still something they contribute, and there's probably still things they need to learn and grow and develop. And if you're having those check-in conversations with them, you can be aware of them. And you can use that information not only to get them more meaningful work that helps them grow, but to keep them more motivated to contribute to the team, even if they have eyes somewhere else. So we're checking in often and we're doing it on a one-on-one basis, hopefully because we can have those transparent conversations where we extract those learnings, and that helps you and the whole team stay aligned with each other's desires, the team's goals, and the organizational mission. And when you do that, you're going to find that people are delivering much more easily on what they say they're going to do, and they're doing it at the time frame and with the level of effort that they said they're going to do. I mean, pivots are going to happen. It's not possible to keep a team aligned 100% of the time. But team alignment is really about how quickly we can respond to those pivots. And so if you've got this regular cycle, at the beginning of the project, we're going to start from purpose and we're going to establish priorities and set team goals. And we'll reestablish some of those goals maybe in those priorities as changes happen. But we'll do that in the process of having these regular huddles on a team and these individual check-ins on a team that keep us up to date even when changes happen, so we can change as a team as well. When that happens, we're going to perform better, we're going to experience less stress because we're more resilient, and we're going to see engagement on the team even from people who may not be on the team very long. Why? Because an aligned team is a team that helps everyone do their best work ever. Oh, and one more thing. We talked about starting from purpose here, and I hope we sold you on how hugely important it is. But if you're wondering how you could do that, how you can take that organizational mission down to a team-wide purpose, you're gonna wanna check out this video here on how to reinforce purpose on a team. There's a purpose behind why I'm showing you this video right here.